There is a messy divorce that's gone on in the world of the BKFC, as it was announced yesterday by the BKFC that Alberto Blas has been stripped of the bantamweight championship. The undefeated dominant champion has been stripped of the championship, and Alberto Blas has signed with BYB, a competing bare knuckle organization. And that's the end of Alberto Blas in the BKFC. We're here to talk about that and give some tea on this topic and our commentary as well. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Combat Corner, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Shomont. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts on the topic at hand. It is messy, messy, messy. I don't know that I've ever seen anything like this in the world of combat sports. Well, I know that we've seen the John Jones situation in the UFC and stuff like that, but I don't think we've ever seen an undefeated champion get stripped of a belt because of behavior outside the ring. So this is the statement that came from the BKFC on this matter. It was released in a press release and also posted on social media, and I will read it to you. It states the world's fastest growing combat sports promotion has officially parted ways with its reigning 135-pound world champion Alberto Blas, effective immediately due to a pattern of unprofessional behavior outside of competition. BKFC values discipline, accountability, and respect for the sport both inside and outside the ring. While the athlete's performance inside the squared circle has been exceptional, repeated incidents and conduct consistent with the values and image of the organization have made it necessary to part ways. We have a responsibility to uphold the integrity of our promotion and the sport as a whole, said BKFC founder and president David Feldman. There were multiple infractions that went into this decision. We wish him well in his future endeavors. BKFC remains committed to promoting world class athletes who embody the grit and professionalism that define bare knuckle fighting. A decision regarding the future of the now vacant 135-pound title will be announced shortly. Now, Alberto Blas has given his own statement on this matter via his Instagram page. Statement by 2024 BKFC Fighter of the Year, Alberto Blas, in response to David Feldman after signing with BKB. I'm sorry, did I say BYB? I meant BKB. My bad. My apologies. I'd like to address the unfortunate accusations made against me today in light of my signing with BKB, Bare Knuckle Boxing, by David Feldman, the one-time owner and one-time face of BKFC. While my record is not spotless, I stand by my reputation and wish to call this out for what it is: an insecure individual trying to save face while the company he built and subsequently sold off continues to spiral downward. There are two incidents that come to mind, of which I am sure Mr. Feldman is referencing. The first occurred in 2022. Since that time, which clearly, as you see, has not been mentioned here in this statement, by the way. Since that time, I was signed by the organization, fought for them 6 times, and was promoted and heralded as their champion. In a more recent incident occurring at the Hard Rock, I was provoked in the locker room, but was the bigger man and walked away, only to be followed through the casino, threatened and harassed. I was told by my provocateur that when he saw me in the street, he would kill my ass. I reacted and defended myself. The bottom line is neither of these incidents rose to the level of suspension or reprimand by Mr. Feldman, to what power he still wields, or BKFC while I was with the organization. None of these things have been spoken of since I last fought for the organization in September of 2024. The only reason they are mentioned this very day is because my signing with a bigger and better organization reflects poorly on a man's fragile ego. I will not be defamed or bullied. If there was something I had done that warranted disciplinary action, Mr. Feldman should have taken such action when he had the power and authority to do so. There wasn't, so he didn't. Now, I can tell you there's some things that I do know about this situation, and I've heard from multiple parties, in fact, and they're accurate. Here's the reality. This situation has been ongoing for months. This is what I know for a fact. This situation has been ongoing for months. This situation, I know of one of the situations I was not there, I was told about. So anything that I'm saying is secondhand information. But there was an incident apparently with Yoel Romero, the former the MMA fighter, current dirty boxing fighter. Specifics to it, I've heard there was an attack with a weapon, um, and that there may be charges pressed. I looked through all the court docket. I could not find any charges or any criminal case against Alberto Blas. So I don't know how accurate that is. This is what I've been told by multiple parties, though. I will say this, Alberto Blas, from my personal experience, has been a great guy to talk to. He's been very nice to me, very nice to our program, to our podcast, and I greatly appreciate him for that. Very, very pleasant, always willing to give up his time. I interviewed him after his last fight in September. I interviewed him before that fight. I interviewed him after the fight as well. So I've talked to him on multiple occasions. I have talked to a number of other fighters in the bantamweight division. I've interviewed them. Um, I have known about what's going on personally for probably at least 4 months, probably 4 months. And yeah, I've done a number of interviews and I have never talked about it publicly because you never know what's going to happen. You never know, things could potentially change. But in this situation here, clearly that is not the case. You have not had Blas have a fight since September at the Hard Rock. In that fight in September, my specific personal experience for which I witnessed it, not hearsay. I was literally standing right there in the back hallway at the Hard Rock. And maybe I get in trouble for revealing this, but I mean, this is what it is. I was standing there and I'm going to speak to the situation that I know of because I saw it happen with my own eyes. I didn't know where it stemmed from. I don't remember the name of the fighter, but what I remember is this. I'm standing in the hallway, in the doorway of the press room. And I wish I had my camera ready because I would have recorded the whole damn thing. But it happened so fast that I couldn't even get my phone up to freaking start recording it. So my failure there, my apologies. There is a double door that leads to this hallway from the main lobby of the Hard Rock Live venue. It's not in the casino. It's attached to the casino. So the casino is here. The doors to the Hard Rock Live are here. Casino is here. The Hard Rock Live is here. This is not a this is not so the doors to the Hard Rock Live are here. The casino is over here. The venue lobby is right over here. Just about back here to the right, there are double doors that lead to a hallway. That hallway, if you walk down that hallway, probably about 15, 20 feet, there is a door on the right that goes right to the press room where they have the post-fight press conference. I'm standing in the doorway of that, waiting to get going for this press conference. I'm one of the first people in the room, actually, in this particular instance. And my wife, who's 5 foot tall, is standing in the doorway of that double door. She did not have a press credential at the time, so I could not get her in. Unfortunately, they would not let me they would not let her in with me. Um, she does get in with me now, but because she helps me a lot with this, with carrying the cameras and videotaping as I'm doing the interviews, it's really hard to do all those things at the same time. Nonetheless, here comes a bottle. I see a bottle being thrown. That's how quick this was. Alberto Blas has just fought Ryan Reber to defend his championship. He's in his fight gear. And all of a sudden, a bottle flies and a freaking mosh of dudes jump on another dude. At the time, I didn't know what was what. I knew Blas was one of those dudes in that incident. Blas, with a group of his own guys, went after another fighter. Now, What he says here may very well be true. I talked to Blas after the fight, after that incident, in private. He told me the guy was mad disrespectful and he said some messed up stuff. He didn't say anything about threatening to kill his ass or nothing like that, but he said he said some messed up stuff. And I don't tolerate disrespect. He's a fighter. He's not going to tolerate disrespect. Most fighters have a quick switch. He'd be really, really nice, but immediately boom. And when I talked to him, he was chill as hell. Like I said, Blas has always been nice to me, nice to the program. I appreciate him. I would love to continue to cover him. I mean, I think he's a great dude. He's an amazing, amazing bare knuckle fighter. But yeah, so here comes this mosh of dudes, like 4 or 5 dudes, and it's Blas with these dudes, and they basically jump on this other dude. There's security trying to get. My wife nearly gets trampled in the doorway. She nearly gets trampled in that double doorway. From what I've heard after the fact, Alberto Blas was banned from the Hard Rock. Now, and I've been told that by multiple people, banned from the Hard Rock. Maybe suspended, but definitely suspended at least for a period of time. But I've been told by a few people he was banned from the Hard Rock. That's a problem. That's a big problem when you are a local Miami fighter and the biggest venue for bare knuckle fighting realistically is the Hard Rock. That's the main location for fights in South Florida. And it's the main location for which someone like Alberto Blas can sell tickets. He's not going to be able to sell a lot of tickets if he's fighting in Kansas. The reality is the BKFC is still a business that needs fighters to sell tickets to the fights so that people are there. Because the majority, they're not on the level of the UFC where people will just buy tickets. The fighters got to sell tickets. The fighters' compensation is also based on ticket sales. So you have a situation where this happens. He's now banned from the Hard Rock, which is why he has not fought. There's other issues involving management situations that I'm not going to get into because I don't have all the information or full scope of it. But there are some issues with management, his own management team. Now, again, I don't have specifics on that, but the reality is he's been banned from the Hard Rock, or at the very least suspended for a lengthy period of time. He's also had an legal incident involving Yoel Romero. Why that matters to the BKFC, I'm not particularly sure. I think there's some concerns of legal situations. I've had fighters tell me some other stuff as well. Folks, I mean, when I say plugged in, I become very, very plugged into the BKFC. I got fighters DMing me on almost a daily basis, telling me stuff and the whole nine. Most of which 99% of it I will never repeat, because that's the respect I have. That we're shooting the shit. I'm not going to ever disclose that unless I'm given permission to say something. But at the same time, this is obviously a shitty situation for the BKFC. You lose your dominating champion and you lose it to a competing organization. Now, again, I don't cover BKB, so I am not. I mean, I see they've had probably 50 events, 45, 50 events. Started before BKFC, but BKFC has clearly become the leader in this area, in this space. I have respect for all these organizations that put on events. I mean, it's an outlet for a lot of fighters, and it's a great thing. So I have no criticism because I don't know them, and I've never been to any one of their events. I need to go to some of them. I would like to go to some. They don't. They've had most of their events outside of South Florida, so it makes it a little bit harder of late. They did a lot of their events locally in the beginning, which at that time in 2019 I wasn't covering. I didn't have a podcast, number one, and I wasn't covering bare knuckle fighting at all. I had been to, I think, one BKFC event to that point. God, I'm sorry, I got something in my eye. I only say all this to say this. Some of this stuff in the statement I don't think is completely accurate because there was no fight in the casino. It was in the hallway. The incident was in the hallway after he fought in front of the media room. I mean, there was a number of people there who saw it, and it caused a problem for him. It caused a major problem for him. And I think more than anything, him not being able to fight at the Hard Rock is a pretty significant for the BKFC. You can't have your 135 champion who's from lives in Miami, who's Hispanic Cuban man, um, not be able to fight locally when they're not going to do any events anywhere else except for the Hard Rock and maybe the James L. Knight Center or the Kaseya Center. But the Kaseya Center would have to be a real special event to put it into a 19,000 seat arena. Not to mention the Kaseya Center charges so damn much that the ticket prices would probably go through the roof, which I think would be the biggest thing and detractor from the BKFC ever doing an event there. Because if you look at how much a ticket to a UFC fight costs, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's like a complete freaking screw job that they're doing when they fight at the Kaseya Center in Miami, where the Miami Heat play. That said, you now have an empty vacant belt at 135. I've talked to Justin Ibarola. I've talked to Ryan Reber. I've talked to AJ Rodriguez, who is very, very tight with Alberto Blas. AJ Rodriguez, I'm definitely gonna get back on here because we're gonna have to talk about this. We're gonna have to have this conversation, and I know he'll jump on and he'll defend his guy. He's good friends, very, very tight with Blas. They're training partners. Now it's open for him to have a chance to fight for that 35 belt that he was never going to fight for as long as Blas was in the organization. I'm sure he's known about what's going on. I've never brought it up, but I've been aware of the situation for months now. Just didn't know what the direction of the BKFC was going to be. I mean, this is a major to strip a champion and basically fire a fighter. You got to go through a lot, man. This is not something that I'm sure David Feldman was happy. I'm sure David Feldman was not happy to do this. I'm sure he didn't want to do this. I'm sure the BKFC did not want to do this, but they probably felt that they had no choice at this point because you have to have a marketable champion that can fight locally. Josh Dyer is the champion at 185. You can bet that they're going to have him fighting in that area. He has to be able to fight there, and you have the champion at one. Depending on who wins, G the Cutman or G Perez or Andrew Strode. If Andrew Strode wins, he better be able to fight in Colorado. Obviously, G Perez can fight locally in South Florida. If he wins, you need your champions to be able to fight locally without question. Chris Camozzi, he was perfect for Italy because he's of Italian descent, so it made sense. That's the one thing about the BKFC at this point. They still have to have fights and locations that make sense for the fighters that they have on the card, which is why, for example, you have a card next month that literally is littered with nothing but dudes in Miami and Fort Lauderdale and Palm Beach. But I have talked to Ibarola. I have talked to Reber in the past. I know both guys want to have a shot at fighting for the belt. I wonder if they're going to go the direction of a tournament. I think that might be the best course of action for them, not just do a vacant belt and not just do simply a vacant belt. I would certainly be looking to do a tournament like they're going to do at 155. You don't have to worry about having any interim champion. And if you look at it right now, the clear guys that are at 35 that would be absolutely who I would consider should be in a tournament setting would be without a doubt Justin Ibarola, Ryan Reber, and Keith Richardson. He's also the former champion. Chris Garcia is coming off of a loss, so I don't know. But those are three of the four that I think are almost without a doubt in there. Michael Larimore could be in the conversation. So there's guys. I think the biggest question is who would be number four if you did a four-man tournament for this belt. Nonetheless, we are in July. Would they do it all in one shot? They're back here from what I'm told in September in Hollywood. Would they do it somewhere else? Again, who knows? Who knows? But this is obviously huge news in the world of the BKFC. Alberto Blas has left the BKFC and signed with BKB. Signed a multi-fight deal with them. He's had his comments back to the BKFC. I wish him nothing but the best. He's a good dude from my experience. I like him. I think he's a good dude. He's been very nice to our show. And I'll be happy to get him back on here because I'd love to have him say what he feels. If he don't know if he can even speak about it, but definitely Would love to get him back on here to talk about it. Definitely want to get AJ on here again. But that's what it is right now. Again, I can tell you from my personal firsthand experience and what I saw. What I saw was not in the casino. What I saw was in the back hallway after the fight. And it is what it is. You got to know how to control yourself in situations. It's just that simple. And you don't want to go to jail in an in a Native American reservation. You don't want to go to jail there. The jail in the Seminole tribe jail is not going to be the same as the rules are different. The rules there are different. So yeah, that's what it is. And again, wishing Alberto Blas the best. BKFC is going to move forward, and we'll see what their announcement is. Maybe they'll have an announcement next, on July 12th at the Hard Rock, and let us know all live what's going to pop off. Because looking forward to it. But that's all we got for now. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. This is Combat Corner, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. Come on now.
Up and down through the blood and the sweat. Guarantee you can know I'm a threat. Up and down.